Hello. I want to review some instruments today. You might know that I have done that a lot in the past, but after a kind of hiatus, I'm back now with a review of, in fact, several grants which are collected in this collection, which is called the Experience Pianos. And this consists of 7 instruments. So I want to show you these instruments. I will play on them and I will give my opinion on them. So I played on pretty much most of the digital pianos which are available at this point. I'm doing the YouTube channel for 7 years, and in such a long time you kind of get to know what is on the market. So I think I can, or I hope I can give some insight for you about these instruments. But as always, the main part of this video will be simply me playing on those instruments. So just as an overview, you get really a lot of grants in this collection. It starts off with a Bösendorfer grant, Austrian concert. Then we have a Fazioli, also one of the longest grants in the world. And what I think makes this collection kind of interesting are all those a little bit smaller grants, like the Steingräber. Personally, I have very rarely played on a Steingräber in real life, but I'm kind of excited to see how this sounds. Then we have a Steinway B. I played on that much more. We have a Yamaha S6 and a Mason Hamlin, and in the end we have also a fortepiano. So I'm really excited to listen to that sound. So at this point, I want to mention that I have played 2 of these instruments already, and I made videos about them on my channel, which I will link in this video. So I made a video about the Fazioli and about the Mason Hamlin. And I'm kind of excited to see how these instruments sound, because I really liked the way they played. The playability was very good. And the sound is also pretty good as far as I remember. It's been quite a while. But we have new instruments here as well. So I'm really excited to see how this will work. Now, what I want to talk about is, of course, the price. So these 7 instruments sell for $300, but you need a full contact version, or you can use the Sforzando version. I think it goes with the Aria player, which goes with the free, it's called the Sforzando player, and this is $230. All right, so this is all about this introduction. You can read more details on the website, but I think at this point, let's just hear how these instruments sound. So the way I will do this, I will just play all kinds of different pieces that are things that I play as a classical pianist. So it will be Baroque, it will be classical music, it will be romantic music, maybe some jazz. And I try to capture all kinds of different situations that you might encounter, or all kinds of different sounds and atmospheres, so that we can really get a good overview over how these instruments sound. All right, so let's start with the playing. All right, I'm sitting at my piano now, and the installation was pretty easy. There are zip files that you extract, then you search for them in your DAW, and if you have the contact, then you can just load the instrument. And actually I just loaded the instrument inside of Contact, and then there it is. So you can see the graphical user interface on the screen. You can choose between different modes, as you can see, and then there is this customize button, which we'll see later. But I think we're just waiting to hear how this sounds. So the first instrument is the Bösendorfer, and I have a couple of pieces that I will just play a little bit. So I thought I will just start with the Chopin Nocturne, the famous, let's say Opus 9 number 1. I can maybe also play the number 2. I hooked up my pedal. So I have the pedal options here, and let's see how this sounds. So far I think the sound is pretty crisp, very nice. I think it definitely reminds us of the famous Bösendorfer sound, and that I would suggest you to Google for performances on the Bösendorfer to hear what the real instrument has as a unique characteristics. So I think this is captured pretty nicely. What I notice also is the dynamic range is really pretty big. So as you could hear in the sottovoce passage here, it's pretty easy to play. It's pretty easy to play una corda style playing without even using the una corda pedal. So if you adjust the velocity curve accordingly, I didn't even change it at all. I just used my Garrison CFX curve right now. I think that the sound is mellow. It changes its timbre, so that is very nice. So we have a lot of velocity layers here, and I haven't gotten very loud here, but it gets really loud. So there is a very nice feeling of a huge dynamic range, maybe a little bit too much even. The problem with that is if you don't have a very good piano controller, but actually it's about your technique. You need a lot of control to handle all of that. So you can artificially limit the dynamic range, of course, in your mapping. But if you can handle it, then you have a very big output here. So what else can I say so far? It's pretty convincing sound. The playability is also pretty good. I think I feel like I have a lot of control over what I'm playing, but I should play a little bit more to make more statements about this. So what I will do now, let's go, why not, to the second nocturne here, which is arguably maybe a little bit more famous. And I will now change the preset here. This was a concert preset. I will change the preset now to the player preset. All right, so now I have the player preset here, and let's just jump into the second nocturne here. Thanks so much for that. Very nice. So I think maybe you also hear there is a real clarity to the sound. I can play a lot of detail here. So it feels like I have a lot of control over every aspect of what I'm doing. And a little bit the downside of that is, or I don't know if that's really a downside, but it feels like I notice more imperfections in my playing because I have so much control over how it should sound. Also, I think the dynamic range is, my curve is not optimal right now. It feels like it gets a little bit too quiet sometimes. It gets a little bit too quiet and too mellow. I like a little bit more compressed sound. But that's more a issue, I guess, of the velocity curve, not necessarily of the instrument. So that's my thought on this one. So let's maybe leave the Chopin, and I don't know, I have prepared a couple of pieces here that I can play. So to have a little bit of a difference, maybe I will now do a jazz impression by Eschpei. All pieces I played on my channel, or you know them otherwise, like the Chopin. So I will change now to the player, to the studio perspective. All right, and now we have the studio perspective. Okay, and first of all, immediately notice there is a drop in the volume. A little bit surprising, so it would be good if the volume was the same. But yeah, you can obviously just turn it up, but I will still try to do it just like this. Something like that. I haven't played that in a while. Yeah, that is a little bit unfortunate that the volume goes down, but it's not really a problem. You can just turn it up. But I know you normally don't change around the perspectives. So if you boot this up with this, I think you can just adjust the volume. So it's not a big deal. But for the sake of making this video, it's a little bit annoying. You might have noticed after this insane harmony here, in my playing, I try to exaggerately bringing out the melody in the top, which is really easy with this instrument. I'm gonna try it again. Very nice, really nice. It feels very natural, very easy to bring out the top, although I have a clustered chords here. Not every VST can do that. So that's really good. And now that we have done that, one last thing that I want to do is let's do something with a staccato, and I will change back to the first position for this. So now we have the concert setting, and I have this serenade from Gabriel Pienet, which has a lot of staccato going on. So let's see how staccato playing is. and so on. Again, feels very nice. I think you can also hear how crisp the staccato is. So this makes this instrument, this is a good word for this instrument, feels very crisp and lively the way you can phrase things here. And let me just go back to the beginning. Again, I haven't practiced. I should have practiced a little bit, but I'm playing this literally, the last time I played this was when I made the video. Yeah, so I think the staccato playing also passes. So what I want to do now maybe is let me just play quite loudly a chord or whatever to hear a little bit louder dynamics. So pretty nice. Again, I think what I like is that there is this kind of room sound. This is not recorded like a professional sound, I guess, like the VSL sound. I guess this instrument was just in some room. There were probably made some preparations, but you can hear that it has a intimacy. It has a unique character to it. So I would say this is not a character piano, but it has tendencies because of also a little like this very, very slight detuned qualities in the top. And I'm gonna play some top again. Very easy to play repeated notes, by the way. Like, honestly, this is better to play than on the Garriton. Like, the repeated notes is really, really good. I cannot bring them out like that on Garriton. So... So, and also here, when I play like a thumb, when I play with a thumb, the F and the F sharp, that happens rarely in pieces. It really brings out both notes very nicely. Also, I struggled recently with Garriton when I played with that. We'll leave that. But I think for a first impression that should do it. So I have no real complaints except that the dynamic range is really, really big, a little bit too much for me. Would have to adjust that in the velocity curve, but I cannot find like problems with the way it's mapped. Let me just see again with playing, you know, like this. Well, lower mids is always a little bit hard to do. This is not the greatest sound here. Here you can also hear the detuned quality a little bit. It gets really loud. This is gonna distort probably, sorry. All right, let's go to the next instrument. Okay, so I loaded up the next instrument, and this is called Carbon P212, Carbon P212. And let's just jump into a Gennady Lukin piece here, which is also known on my channel. Okay, so I notice here the sound is quieter than the instrument before that, so I have to adjust to that again. The dynamic range is definitely smaller. It feels like in this case the velocity mapping is a little bit better, but should be also I want to have more high. I want to have it louder. It feels a little bit too quiet, but again, you can just change those settings, which by the way, for every instrument I have to change the velocity curve, or I just do that. Actually, sometimes even for each piece, because it's available, and so I can do that. But yeah, so also here, pretty nice sound. Also the good playability, I think it will stay like that for all instruments. Let me just continue this piece. I will continue with another piece. Let's go classical. A pretty nice sound, also good playability. I prefer the first instrument, the Bösendorfer here, a little bit more. All in all, this is just, I mean, it's a much smaller instrument, obviously, but the sound is more confined here. So maybe I will try the jazz. So I'm at player now. Okay, very nice sound. I think this instrument, I would use it more for intimate pieces, for jazzy pieces, because, yeah, for things like this, you want to have a little bit more compressed sound. You don't want to have, I think for pieces like this, like it even says in the score, I only see mezzo forte in the beginning and nothing else. So to have a little, this instrument has more character. If I go to highs again, oops, but anyways. It's fun to play on this, as you can tell, so I could do this forever. You can really dive into the sound and into the atmosphere. So in that sense, I would say it's a little bit incomparable to Garrett or VSL, because it feels like they have a little bit different aims, different goals of what it wants to do, especially since also this is a much smaller instrument. But very interesting. I mean, obviously the size, the price, they're all also really different to instruments like that. But definitely makes fun to play on this. Definitely makes fun to play on this. And feels again very crisp to play. The sound is not as crisp as with the Bösendorfer, but still really pretty good. Now I will change to the next instrument. All right, now we have the fortepiano. So we are where Beethoven wrote all his great music, for example. So we're 1800, 1810. And for that, because of that, I will probably now. I mean, Bach isn't really exactly what I need to play here, but maybe I will just start with this piece, Prelude from the Well Tempered, that I've actually never really studied. I hope I can give an impression here. The D minor one, the Prelude. So let's see, maybe I have to adjust some things. This can be maybe really different here. This goes very quiet, very, very quiet. I would need to adjust the velocity curve a little bit higher. This goes much too quiet. What I like is a little detail that I'm not sure I have ever heard on any fortepiano instrument that I tried. If you listen closely, you can hear that, because I played a lot on real fortepianos. I did many concerts back in the day on actual historic fortepianos from the time, preserved over time. And what happens when you play very loud on them, because they're kind of thimble, they're a little bit, it's just wood and the resonance is not that much present. What happens is there will be like a metallic overtone, and I could hear that while playing. Let me try to bring it out. Can you hear that? It goes like ding, ding, ding. So that's really nice that this is captured. It means we are really, because I played on the Bösendorfer, I know I play on this, it sounds like, man, this is not bringing anything, but this is the reality. Fortepianos are really not that loud. They cannot be that loud, especially from 1800, 1830, 1840. They had a huge development, but in that time, this is what you could get. And you should be able to hear that it's kind of breaking, the sound is kind of breaking. So that is pretty cool that I can hear that while playing. And apart from that, it sounds pretty natural. It sounds, I would probably add a little bit more reverb right now. Maybe I can just change the perspective. Okay, there is no, we have a completely different graphical user interface here. And looks functional, maybe not the prettiest in the world, but you can change the hertz, I mean the tuning in the end. So maybe I will play the Haydn is probably really the best bet here. Very nice, very nice. This is one of the best fortepiano. At this point, the Pianotech fortepianos are really, really good. They are really, really good. So I'm not a big fan of the grand sound. It's my personal opinion. But the fortepiano sound is very good. I haven't played on them for a long time now, so I have not the perfect comparison available right now. But especially in the upper register, I can hear a lot of life. I can hear a lot of things going on that a fortepiano gets. Where was the passage? Here in the end, you can, if you listen very closely, you can hear how fragile the instrument is, and what a beautiful sound, and really much more fitting to this kind of music sound you get. So yeah, chords are a little bit weak because with a chord you want to have like the resonance and romantic music, but for this Haydn style music, which is kind of plinky plonky, this really fits well. It's really fun to play. I have to stop myself not to continue playing this whole thing here because I want to just give an impression. So I really like this a lot. Maybe I just continue a little bit the minuet. It's very easy. With a fortepiano, you want really every note to have its own place because it's kind of, I don't know how to describe it. Really, every note has its own quality, and so it fits very nicely with this kind of sound, this music where basically you have only one note at a time, most of the time. For example, here. So anyways, this is now the fortepiano from this collection. I will continue with the grands. So we have the Fazioli now, and I will choose another piece for this, a really romantic piece, but maybe I will just try to get acquainted a little bit here. Here, well, many things to say. The middle is... It really changes its tone. You notice that. It gets quite distant in the top, which gives it again a lot of character. But you need to know what you want to have. So if you want a more clear sound, a professional, recording sound, I think this is not the right instrument. But if you want to really enjoy some atmospheres, Let me now play a composition here. Okay, here I don't know what's going on with this range here. The melody here. Something is off with that tone to me, I don't know. Here I also feel like I don't have that much control over the melody and the dynamics as with the other instrument. Something is off with the attack here. It's a whoop whoop. So I will change the perspective. Let's see with the player. And then there is a little bit weird release sample. I don't know what that was. Also, I hear a lot of pedal noise, which probably you can turn down. At this point, maybe I change to the configure menu. And in the configure menu, as you can see, there is the option to turn down the pedal noise, which is full on right now. It's a little bit too loud for me here. So I don't like pedal noise that much. So I normally turn it down completely. But yeah, you have all these options here. Again, I think pretty functional user interface. So VSL Garriton looks better, but yeah, it's not the most important point of this. So you have quite some settings, as you can see. Also the reverb can be adjusted, but for the sake of this demonstration, I kind of leave everything as it is, because normally I would also add an external convolver reverb anyway. I thought to do that here too, to really bring out the instrument in its best light. But the problem with that kind of is that I think not everybody has this reverb or, you know, reverb effects or whatever. So I thought it's better to present the version that it's kind of built in out of the box. So yeah, this is for me the weakest so far. It's not bad. And I remember I was pretty amazed back in the day when I did the review about this, which is interesting. So that means that the new instruments, because I think the Bösendorfer and the other instruments are newer renditions. This was maybe one of the first, I don't remember. So the quality definitely improved, I would say. Here I don't feel that comfortable to play on. I think only in special case. Let me try the maybe jazz again, how this works. So there is really something going on with the pedal here. You probably heard it. when I release the pedal, there is like tick, tick, there is a sound which shouldn't be there. Probably can be adjusted here in the settings, but I don't want to bother with that right now, so we have to go through that. So it's really annoying. I'm sorry. I'm gonna change the perspective. I don't know, maybe it's related to this perspective. So let's try studio here again. Yeah, this is the best so far with this instrument. Definitely this kind of mellow sound, which might be the Fazioli, I don't know. I haven't listened to a lot of Fazioli recordings, or I've never played on a Fazioli. Maybe, I'm not sure. Probably never played on a Fazioli. It sounds really much more mellow than the other instruments to me. But for intimate, introverted kind of sound, which fits to this piece, I would say, it works better. It works pretty good with this style here. But yeah, apart from that, there are issues here that I see. So for jazz pieces like this, I might come back to this, but otherwise I'm not sure. So we'll go to the next grand. Okay, I booted up the Japanese Y212. So I'm really curious how this is going to sound. I chose now a piece from a composer called Helen Collin, and that was one of the... yesterday I looked up like, I don't know, 150 pieces until I really gave up with those salon pieces. I didn't find any piece that really kind of catch my attention. So that was kind of close to featuring on the channel, being featured on the channel. But it was a little bit too repetitive. So that's really great for this review because I'm not gonna play the whole piece. Yeah, let's see how this is going to sound. So this is a polka mazurka, so this is a salon piece. Right off the bat, very loud, louder than the other instruments. Again, not a problem, I'm just noticing this. Would have to adjust the velocity curve maybe a little bit because it should be piano in the beginning. But it's definitely more compressed, more upfront, the sound. So yeah, let's see. Okay, so now it basically repeats 2 or 3 times. So it was kind of nice, this piece, but then it gets a little bit repetitive. But anyways, so here I would say I can definitely hear it's a smaller grand. It's not, it doesn't have this big dynamic range from the other instruments. It sounds good overall. I would say it has a clarity. It has this layer on top, which gives this kind of clarity. But still, it sounds a little bit muffled, which is maybe due to the instrument. But it has a little bit this muddiness, which which I don't like that much. So this piece consists basically of 3 chords. So maybe I will change now. Let's maybe go back to the Chopin. Okay, it sounds good. It sounds good, but I don't know if you hear that in the left hand, here basically in this range. I don't know. I don't really like how this sounds. I don't know if you can hear that. So the mapping is not that even like the Bösendorfer, but I like the sound more than the Fazioli here. So the melody is great. It sticks out, it has this clarity. This chord, it sounds so a little bit artificial. This sounds better. Ah, very nice. That was really good. I'm gonna leave the chord. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on. It's good. It sounds good. But again here, can you hear that? Maybe it's just my taste. I don't know. Maybe this is the correct way it sounds. But this is my problem here a little bit. Let's go to the very highs. The mapping is here again a little bit uneven. The Bösendorfer had like perfect mapping. Here it feels like I have to press more to get the same velocity. It really, for example, this B sticks out much more. This sounds good. This sounds good. Here the E falls short a little bit with the... It's kind of minor, but definitely noticeable. So yeah, so all in all, this is the one which has, I think, all in all, pretty good sound. I like most of the parts except here in the middle, but the playability is not completely on top. So maybe playability 7 out of 10 or something. The Bösendorfer was pretty much 9 out of 10, which I like the most in that regard. All in all, so far, the Bösendorfer really is the best instrument. So the Bösendorfer, for really a statement like that, I would need to play it for some weeks. But so far, almost interchangeable with the Garriton CFX that I use right now, honestly. So okay, we go to the next. Okay, for the Mason Hamlin, I just refer to the video that I already made where I played a piece, because this video is terribly long anyway. So we have the last instrument here, and this is the New York SS numbers. So I will play a salon piece here, and let's see what we get here. So much for that. Not very convinced so far with the sound. The recording sounds very different to the other instruments for some reason. It sounds really upfront. There is not a lot of space. So maybe I change the perspective. Let's see what happens. So let's go to the player. Why not the same? Let's do the same. What I like here is the release. The release feels natural with the left hand here. You know, it has this time where the sound fades out. It sounds good. Let's go to maybe a little bit, let's go to the, let's try another piece here, a little bit quieter. Yeah, well, it has a unique sound. It definitely sounds really different than the other instruments, so that makes it stand out. And here, yeah, I don't feel very comfortable with the way it plays. Maybe you could tweak settings and everything, but just from when I load it up and have this, feels imbalanced a little bit in the playing. The playability is good in the sense that I can get pretty quiet, like the piano here. I can play pretty quietly, and I can also get you can get very fierce. All right, I'm going to leave it at that. So this is a demonstration of all the instruments of this package, and I'll leave you with this playing. So yeah, you can just go back and listen again, analyze what's going on here. I shared with you all my thoughts on this, and I think I cannot add more at this point. So I hope you enjoyed the video and maybe also the playing or the pieces that I featured here, and see you next time.